America. What is up, friends? Greetings and welcome to the Brightside, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast, wild, crazy world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I am your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado, registered pharmacist number 12275. I specialize in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to the Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That is why we are here every day on the Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 27 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, acne, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle. But what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system, it is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it is no miracle at all. It is simply the way the body works. If you have questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, we welcome your phone calls here on the Bright Side. Our number is 855-660-4261. If you have questions about the longevity products, ingredients, formulations, something you may have read, if you have a success story you'd like to share or you just want to contribute to the conversation, 855-660-4261 is your number on the Bright Side. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products that you hear us talk about on the Bright Side, you can head over to my website, brightsideben.com, and take a look at our shopping cart. We have all the products up at brightsideben.com. You can also call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. Make sure you ask about joining the Brightside Ben team for a one-time $10 fee. You can start yourself a longevity business, enjoy all the benefits, tax benefits associated with having a longevity business. That's for a one-time $10 fee. You can write off your home office, write off your mileage, write off your products. And you can, of course, get your products at the wholesale price. And they can tell you all about it at 866-735-2470. That's the Brightside Ben phone team number. Or you can click on the Join the Team link on the upper left-hand corner of the page at brightsideben.com. And I also want to encourage you to check out our blog, pharmacistben.com, which we update regularly with news stories and blog posts. We've got a post up there. Hopefully it's up there today. If not today, it'll be up there. If it's not there now, it'll be up there later today on lecithin, which we spent some time on our last Brightside program. Okay, so that's it for the housekeeping. Let's get into talking about cysteine, the hardening amino acid that's so important for keratin. We've been saying for the last few days that many disorders of the skin are associated with defects in the production of keratin, cysteine-containing keratin, and this in turn is associated with messed up skin cells and messed up skin, and this in turn is often connected to fat malabsorption. I know we talk about it all the time. We talk about the digestive system all the time, and we especially talk about fat malabsorption. It's so significant, such an important area of health to focus on, and nobody's really talking about this, even though 30% of Americans, 1 out of every 3 Americans, is dealing with some kind of fat malabsorption issue. So if cells are making too much of this hard protein keratin, think fingernails, think rhinoceros horns or deer antlers. Keratin is a hard protein that makes nails hard and horns hard and antlers hard. It also forms a very thin layer on the surface of the skin where it's made in skin cells, and then it forms a thin layer on the surface of the skin to provide the skin with a certain amount of resilience and resistance. But when skin cells are messed up, they can end up making up too much keratin, clogging pores, a hard bump shows up. If you go to a dermatologist for your keratin-based skincare problem or skin problem, whether it's pimples or bumps or milia or psoriasis, which can also be caused by a problem with keratin, the chances are pretty good you're going to leave with a prescription for an antibiotic or maybe a steroid. You may end up with an internal antibiotic as well as an internal steroid in addition to a topical product. Why a steroid? Because they're anti-inflammatory and they suppress the defense system of the body. That's how a steroid works. I got an email from somebody who wanted to know what exactly is the problem with steroids. Well, steroids is a generic term for a type of chemical, a type of hormone in the body, but it's also a generic term for a type of prescription. In any case, steroids have a suppressant effect on the immune system. And if you've been prescribed prednisone or Lidex cream or fluocinolone or triamcinolone or any of these hard-to-pronounce prescription drugs that are technically steroids, your doctor's telling you that you got an immune problem, you got a defensive problem, and the drugs are there to just suppress the defenses, to suppress the immune problem. Inflammation is immunity. Steroid drugs are anti-inflammatory. You can actually take a non-steroid anti-inflammatory like Motrin or Naproxen. These are non-steroid anti-inflammatories. They're actually called NSAIDs. NSAID, you probably heard that term, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and that's to distinguish them from steroids. Even pharmaceutical companies and drug companies and doctors know that these steroids are a significant problem. That's why they came out with Motrin, non-steroid anti-inflammatories. But if you get a steroid drug, you get topical steroids or internal steroids, what you're hearing, what your doctor's telling you is you got an immune problem. Inflammation means immunity. If you get a steroid drug for your skin, you're dealing with some kind of inflammation/immunity, some kind of microscopic inflammation and defensive response. Keep this in mind. This is so important. Inflammation means a defensive response. Inflammation is basically a synonym for a defensive response. And what is it that causes this kind of micro-inflammatory defensive response that leads to pimples and milia and bumps and skin problems? Well, it's some kind of cell effect. Something's messed up with cells. All disease is cell disease, and all skin disease is skin cell disease. And on some level, all cell disease and all skin cell disease or any other cell disease is going to involve inflammation. On some level, if you have a disease, you've got an inflammation going on. This is it, people, period. If you got a disease, no matter what it is, it could be something as minor as pimples or milia. It could be something as major as cancer or heart disease. Whatever it is, you've got inflammation at the level of a cell. Can you get how important this is? The inflammatory process, the defensive process, the defensive system, the immune system is behind everything that goes wrong in the body. Everything that goes wrong in the body is the manifestation of a defensive response. Period. End of story. And I'm not talking here about trauma, the kind of stuff, accidents and getting hit by a car, that kind of thing, although there's probably an inflammatory component to that too. But I'm talking about degenerative breakdown disease that does not get better on its own, that does not resolve on its own. That's what a degenerative issue is, a degenerative disease is. And that's pretty much the bulk of our health crisis. It's degenerative problems. They're all caused by an inflammatory breakdown, or an inflammatory process, I guess. Inflammation, immunity, defense. But in terms of degenerative disease, pimples or whatever it is, the inflammation is occurring at the teeny tiny level of a cell. Inflammation, whether it's the big kind of inflammation like a black eye or a broken leg, the swelling ankle, whatever that is, whatever kind of inflammation you're dealing with that's visible and obvious, or whether we're talking about microscopic inflammation, microinflammation that occurs invisibly, imperceptibly, is about clogging. This is what inflammation means. It means clogging. It's a type of barricading. It's a type of walling off. You can think of a beaver's dam. A beaver will throw in sticks and stones and rocks and whatever a beaver does to make a dam to kind of wall off the water. That's exactly what the inflammatory process is. It's a biological beaver's dam. It's a protective process. It's the way the body protects itself from an invader such as bacteria or virus or a splinter maybe, or some kind of foreign body object. You see, the body can actually be perceived as a foreign enemy. This protective response can be initiated to the body itself. And this is where the problems begin, folks. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Brightside on the Genesis Communication Network. Got some lines open for you. Try to get on board early so we can squeeze in as many calls as possible at 855-660-4261. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away.
Pharmacist Ben Fuchs has learned the importance of good fats for good health. Good fats are essential fatty acids, and they're called essential because they're necessary for good health. That's why he uses Ultimate EFAs from Youngevity.
Among the fats, the most powerful are two fats that are referred to as essential fatty acids. Now, nothing in the world of nutrition is more important than essential fatty acids. The word essential means you better get it in your diet or you're in big trouble. Essential fatty acids are perhaps the most multifunctional and versatile of all the essential nutrients. Essential fatty acids are not just important for the heart. They're important for everything in the body.
To get the essential fatty acids that are so important to your body, order Ultimate EFAs from Youngevity by calling 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. Or on the web at brightsideben.com. That's brightsideben.com. Order today.
Friends, this is Alex Jones for MidasResources.com. For more than 15 years, I have exclusively used Midas Resources for all my precious metal needs. Whether it's bullion or collectibles you're looking for, Midas Resources is simply the best. I own my gold as a hedge against inflation. This Federal Reserve fiat currency could go the way of the Deutschmark and the Weimar Republic any time. In these historically dangerous times, it makes sense to physically hold gold and silver. Midas already has some of the best deals in the industry. But if you give them a call and mention the radio special, they will give you a list of the day's super specials. Midas brokers are standing by to answer all your questions at 800-686-2237. They also have a lot of informative free literature explaining the opportunities and risk of holding precious metals. They are ready to answer your questions at 800-686-2237. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
We all know that Berkey Water Purification Systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey Water Filtration Systems. The Berkey Light Systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-888-912-1595. 1-888-912-1595. That's 1-888-912-1595. 1-888-912-1595.
We are America's largest independently owned communications network. GC.
Welcome back to the Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for being here. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on our archive page at brightsideben.com. You can click on the archive page and get 3 years' worth of programs. 3 years this month. We've been doing the Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network, and they're all up at brightsideben.com. If you want to search any of the programs for a particular subject, you can go to benfuchsarchives.com. That's plural. Thank you to Peter in the UK for setting that up for us. And if you want to purchase any of the Youngevity products that you hear us talk about on the program, you can head over to brightsideben.com and click on the Buy Now link. Pull down on the shopping cart. All the products are up there. Make sure you take a special look at the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. It's $50 for Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0. It's got prebiotics, probiotics. For $50, you get the gift of health. Most folks will notice results within 1 or 2 doses. I've been seeing the results personally for 17 years via letters and Facebooks and phone calls and via my patients and in my personal life as well. If you haven't checked this stuff out, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family to give it a shot. It tastes awesome, and it's a wonderful way to get hard to absorb fatty nutrients as well as B vitamins and vitamin C and plant-derived nutrients. And it is only $50 a canister. You can find out all about it at brightsideben.com. If you want to start a longevity business, you can click on the Join the Team link on brightsideben.com, or you can call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. Our number on the Brightside is 855-660-4261. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to get off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you do that. 855-660-4261, and we do have a couple lines open for you. Okay, so when a cell becomes defective, and it can become defective for lots of reasons, usually it has something to do with nutritional deficiencies or toxicity, but when a cell becomes defective, it becomes the enemy. When the cell it becomes defective, it becomes the enemy. It triggers the enemy or defensive response, I should say. Essentially, it's no longer recognizable as part of the body. It's perceived as a foreign invader, and this is what triggers the inflammatory response. The cell breaks down, it triggers the inflammatory response. And at this point, once the cell gets perceived as being a bad guy, as being an enemy, at this point, a couple things can happen. First of all, you get this barricading process. This barricading process is a protective process. It walls off what's perceived as an enemy. And this walling off process, if it becomes chronic, can cause a downward vicious spiral because cells become defective, they get walled off. Now, nutrients cannot get through that barricade. Oxygen cannot get through that barricade, and poisons cannot leave that barricade. So behind the barricade, in the Beaver's Dam, now you've got a whole mess. You've got toxicity, you've got nutritional deficiency, you've got oxygen deficiency. And now you have even more cell death and cell disease, and then you have more barricading, and then you have more cell death and more cell disease, and you get this downward spiral of degeneration. Sometimes you can end up with cells actually committing suicide. Cells will commit suicide themselves. They're not even going to wait for the immune system to kill them off. They'll actually kill themselves off. That's called apoptosis. Fancy way of saying cell suicide. How do you like that? A cell knows it's defective. It will literally commit hara-kiri. It'll slash itself. It'll kill itself. And again, you have dead cells, and dead cells, a dead cell, when a cell is dead, it basically explodes, and all of its chemicals get spewed about. So think about this. Use your imagination here, guys. Use your mind's, picture this in your mind's eye. You've got a defective cell. This defective cell gets walled off or barricaded. Nutrients cannot get through that barricade, so more cells become starved. Oxygen can't get through the barricade, so more cells become suffocated. Toxins cannot leave the barricade, so more cells become toxic. So then you get more barricading and more toxicity and more inflammation and more toxicity and more nutritional deficiency and more oxygen deprivation and more inflammation. More barricades, more cells exploding, more cells spewing their toxicity. You can see what can happen here, folks. Now, you're not going to notice it at first because a cell is very, very tiny. A cell is like 100 times smaller than the head of a pin. So it's super tiny, and you're not going to notice this disaster. But over time, as more and more cells become involved, as more and more barricading is taking place, as more and more cells are exploding and dying, this is going to lead to more starvation, suffocation, intoxication. And the net result is this negative spiral of disease and degeneration that we don't realize is happening until we get some kind of pain or some kind of blood vessel blockage or some kind of stress response, hypertension, or even, God forbid, cancer or some kind of autoimmune disease. But the major point is, this all starts at the microscopic level of a cell, and we, as the macroscopic, the big picture, the owner of the cells, we may not even know it's happening until it becomes significant enough to change the way a mass of cells do their business. And then that affects how cells make stuff, how a cell divides, how a cell grows, how a cell's mature, and all of a sudden you'll notice the pimple. And all of a sudden you'll notice the rash. And all of a sudden you'll notice the milia, and you'll notice the hard bumps. And the moral of the story is the whole process begins at the level of a cell. Somewhere a cell is not getting what it needs. Somewhere a cell is not getting fed. Somewhere a cell is not getting oxygen. Somewhere a cell is not draining its toxins away. And that's true whether you have swelling, edema, arthritis, a skin disease, a female reproductive problem, a joint problem, whatever it is, it's happening at the level of a cell first and foremost. And your doctor isn't going to tell you this because he can't do squat about it. How do you like that? We got this this entire healthcare system, this $1 trillion healthcare system that is absolutely helpless at the level where the degenerative disease process begins. This is why I do this program, folks. This is why I will present this message till the day I die, to let people know your doctor cannot help you at the level of a cell. And where I get angry, and I try not to get angry here, but where I do is because they're stealing from us. They're ripping us off. They're dishonest. They're not telling us they can't do anything at the level of the cell. They say, oh, we'll just take your gallbladder out. Or we'll just put a stent in your heart. Or we'll just give you some kind of steroid drug. They're not telling us. Maybe they don't know. Maybe perhaps they don't know. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But the arrogance of the medical model, the hubris of the medical model, for the most part, prevents doctors from saying they can't help us at the level of a cell. So the good news is, the bright side is, we don't need them. We can do it ourselves. You don't need a doctor to help you at the level of a cell. We're self-contained. We can do it without insurance, without doctors' offices, without pharmacists. You don't even need me. You don't even need me on the radio. So if the cell's the problem, what do we do? Well, let's ask ourselves, first and foremost, if the cell is the problem, where exactly in the cell is the problem? You see, cells are making the wrong things, or making too much of the right things, or not enough of the right things. This is what we really mean when we say all disease is cell disease. Cells are just not doing their business correctly. Muscle cells aren't muscling, and heart cells aren't hearting, and kidney cells aren't kidneying, and joint cells aren't jointing. But where in the cell does the problem begin? What is the locus of pathology, the locus of breakdown? Where is the breakdown located in a cell? This answer is critical if we're really going to change our cell-based condition. Remember, no drugs are going to work at this level of the cell. No doctors are going to be able to help you. Dermatological practices can only hide and disguise. If you zoom into the skin cell that is at the core, the skin cell problem that is at the core of our pimples and our milia and our psoriasis or whatever, you're going to find an overproduction of keratin. Next question, what is the control point for the production or overproduction of keratin? This is so important, and I'll tell you what it is when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away.
Did you know that organic sulfur can cleanse and defend your body against the poisons we're exposed to each day? Organic sulfur crystals from sulfurdefense.com help by forcing oxygen and nutrition into your cells while eliminating heavy metals, contaminants, and damaging radiation. Defend yourself and family from toxic assault with one of the most critical and essential minerals available today. Order online at sulfurdefense.com. That's sulfurdefense.com, or call 800-593-6273.
Does advertising on the Genesis Communications radio network actually bring positive results? Let's ask
Thomas Baldrick from Freeze Dry Guy.
And do the GCN listeners let you know they heard your ad?
Customers do let us know they've heard Freeze Dry Guy ads on GCN. They seem to be very loyal listeners to GCN, and they stay with those shows, and subsequently they stay with our business too.
Looking for positive results? Contact Lee Wickenhauser at 877-996-4327, extension 107.
We live in a complicated society. Stressful issues are always popping up. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone? Have you ever been overcharged for a repair? Have you ever signed a contract or a document? Worried about identity theft? How many times have you been in those unique situations where you just wanted to call an attorney to find out if you're right or wrong, or what your legal rights are? But every time you think about calling an attorney, what do you think about first? That's right. Who do you call, and how much will it cost? Our friends at Legal Shield have found a solution. With a nationwide network of 6,900 attorneys who average over 19 years of experience, Legal Shield's law firms take over 40,000 calls per week helping their members. For less than $20 per month, you can have access to Legal Shield on everything from the trivial to the traumatic. Let Legal Shield stand up for your rights at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com. Or call 855-340-SAVE, 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right. General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100 foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 866-91-STEEL. Lock in your price now. Take delivery in spring. 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
In the U.S., 1 in every 50 homes will have a break-in this year. Burglars call it smash and grab. Police call it robbery. We call it avoidable. We are Fake TV, a simple electronic device that can fool even professional burglars. Fake TV easily plugs into any outlet and simulates the changing colors of a television. To a burglar, it looks like someone must be home watching TV, so they'll likely move on to an easier target. At only $29.95, Fake TV costs less than a month of most alarm monitoring plans and comes with free shipping. Order your Fake TV by calling 877-5-FAKE-TV or go to faketv.com. That's 877-532-5388 or faketv.com. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
A little right, a little left, but always independent-minded. The Genesis Communications Network, GC.
Welcome back to the Brightside. I am Pharmacist Ben. Our number is 855-660-4261, 855-660-4261, and we do have a couple lines open for you. Try to get on board early if you can, so we can get to as many calls as possible. Let's take our... Oh, okay, I was going to tell you about the locus of control, the locus of pathology in a cell, where a cell breaks down. And we'll continue this tomorrow because this is very, very important. And it's really important when it comes to how you take care of the problem. You've got to know where in the cell the problem is occurring. So the process, all disease is cell disease. Cells not making what they need to make. Cells not doing what they need to do. Cells on some level not doing their business, and this is secondary to or following cells being starved, suffocated, or toxic, which follows inflammation, which follows more which comes from more cell starvation, toxicity, inflammation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you got cell disease caused by starvation, suffocation, and toxification of a cell, which follows inflammation and also precedes inflammation because it's a circle. It's a downward spiral. So how how do you take care of this? Well, first of all, we got to know where the problem is beginning, where in a cell the problem begins, and it begins, my friends, at a part of the cell that we don't appreciate anywhere near as much as we need to appreciate, and that is the cell membrane. And I know I've talked about it on this program a lot because it is really the key to everything. We said all disease is cell disease, but really more specifically, all disease is cell membrane disease. The membrane is this tiny, 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 ridiculously thin coating on top of a cell. Picture a cell is already tiny. A cell is like 1/100th the size of a head of a pin, but a cell itself is coated with this incredible layer of fats. It's mostly fats, and this is why this is going to be very important here, and I'll tell you in a minute why it's important. This layer of fat coats the cell, and this layer of fat that coats the cell membrane, is the intelligence of the cell. It's the brain of a cell. The membrane is the brain. The membrane of a cell is the brain of a cell. And once this membrane breaks down, that's where all the problems begin. Stuff can't get through the cell. Stuff can't come out of the cell. The membrane is an information processor, so information processing, intelligence gets messed up, and this is where the problem begins. And because it's mostly composed of fat, this is why fat absorption is so important. If you're not getting enough fats, and by the way, there's going to be some interesting literature that you're going to hear about here in a couple of days about saturated fats. As it turns out, saturated fats are very important. As you know, if you've been listening to this program, I've been talking about the importance of coconut oil and butter and other saturated fats, despite the boneheaded medical dogma about staying away from saturated fats. And you're going to hear about this here in the next couple of days, or maybe in the next week or so, as more and more information gets released about how fats are important. Saturated fats are important for you. Anyway, this membrane is largely composed of fat, and because it's largely composed of fat, fat absorption, fat malabsorption, intake of fats, making sure you're getting your fatty vitamins and your essential fatty acids is extra, mega important if you're dealing with some kind of disease process. And I'll tell you what I mean. We'll elaborate on this tomorrow as we continue talking about milia and keratin and cysteine and the importance of cell health when it comes to taking care of all of these problems. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You are listening to The Brightside on the Genesis Communication Network. Time to hit our phones. Let's go to California. Welcome, John, to The Brightside. What's up, John?
Hey, Ben. Good morning.
Good morning, my friend. What's going on?
Well, to begin with, I want to tell you that your show is really the highlight of my day.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I'm fortunate to be able to hear you almost every day.
I love it. Thank you. You know what, John, I want to hear what you have to say, but we got a really bad connection. Can you hang up and call back? I'm going to take a phone call. Call back, and I'll get you right up after the next phone call, okay? But call right back. Call. Thanks so much, buddy. Okay. I couldn't understand what he was saying, so I couldn't answer his question. But anyway, I always like hearing that people are enjoying the program and getting benefits from the program. Mario in New Jersey, what is up, Paisan? How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Paisan, what's going on?
How you doing? How can we help you? I haven't talked to you for a while. Everything good?
I know. Well, you know what? I got a little jealous the other day. I heard you talking to someone from Jersey saying you want to hook up with him to come over here, and I've been asking you for a long time.
No, you're on my list too, Mario. I just haven't had a chance to call you. How's your mom doing?
My mom's good. I'm actually calling about my cousin, Marianne, and she's 1 year younger than me. She's 44, and she has a bad hip that she's the doctors are convincing her to go get a hip replacement.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. You guys, hip replacements, knee replacements, they do them routinely these days, but it's still a very major surgery. They got to go into the hip, and they got to basically, what they do with the hips and the joints and the knees is they basically do what they do to your teeth when you have a crown put on or a veneer put on. They ground it down. They ground the surface of the joint down, and they put plastic or some kind of metal on the surface of the joints, the hip joint or the knee joint, and it really is painful, and it's really a serious procedure. Now, if she does have degenerative disease and the cartilage is all broken down, it's very difficult to heal that cartilage. But personally, I'd be using cartilage repair strategies before I went and got surgery, and I would certainly be doing dietary strategies, staying away from pro-inflammatory foods and such, the kind we all like to eat. So if she really wants to avoid a hip replacement, there's lots of things she can do. I'm not saying definitely she can stay away. It may be that the degeneration is too bad and she may need a hip replacement, but she sure would be well advised to start off anyway by using some nutritional strategies. Let me give you some ideas, okay, Mario?
Yeah, and she's a vegetarian, by the way.
Okay, well, that makes it a little bit more difficult because I was going to say
it does.
Because eating cartilage is the best thing to do, and obviously if you're a vegetarian, you can't do that. So is she a vegan or vegetarian?
She's a vegetarian.
Okay, so have her doing eggs and have her doing fish as much as she can, fish and eggs. And then also you want to do cartilage building strategies. It's true for everybody out there with arthritis or any cartilage problems. Vitamin C is a key player in the rebuilding of connective tissue and cartilage. Very, very important. You can't make the stuff without vitamin C. So Beyond Tangy Tangerine will get you about 1,000 milligrams per couple of scoops, but I'd be bumping up the vitamin C as well. Glucosamine also can be very helpful.
She's allergic to shellfish.
Well, you can get glucosamine, non-shellfish glucosamine. In fact, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine I'm pretty sure has non-shellfish glucosamine. I think it's the BTT. I better look into that.
Taking the BTT. I got her on BTT.
Good. Keep her on that. Make sure she's doing her fats, essential fatty acids. The Ultimate EFAs will be very helpful for her. The Ultimate enzymes can help keep inflammation down and also help her obtain nutrients out of her foods. More protein is very important. So if she's a vegan, that's going to be a little bit hard for her, but make sure she's eating eggs and fish. And she can't do shrimp, so that's unfortunate. But squid, octopus, those are all good sources of protein. Of course, if she can do eggs, those are going to probably be the best way for her to get her protein. Maybe 3 or 4 eggs every day would be a good idea. The B complex is also important, and then minerals are going to be important too, especially magnesium and calcium, the Osteomag. Vitamin E is wonderfully anti-inflammatory, 400 international units of vitamin E a day, and then focus on anabolic, that is building vitamins, especially vitamin A and vitamin D, and there's a close relationship between vitamin A and zinc, so 50 milligrams of zinc would probably be a good idea as well. Let me think if there's anything else I'm missing here. Hyaluronic acid for all cartilage products. Hyaluronic acid. Love that stuff. And then the acetylmyrostoliate from Longevity can have some nice pain-relieving properties. I like the internal CM product better than the CM cream, but the CM cream topically may have some benefits for her also. Got to take a break, Mario. Thanks so much for your call, buddy, and I will definitely be in touch with you, Mario, my friend, when I come out to New Jersey, which hopefully will be in the next couple of months. Thanks for calling, bro. John, hang tight. We'll get to you when we come back from our break, and if you're on hold, we'll try to get to all our calls as well. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Brightside on the Genesis Communication Network. We'll be back right after this.
Many Americans suffer from poor digestion, which can adversely affect their health.
For you guys who have digestive issues, glutathione is amazingly important for inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, stomach cancer. The glands of the stomach produce lots of glutathione. So glutathione's got multiple roles to play, and one of the best ways to upregulate, to make more glutathione, is to take the building blocks, glycine being one of the most important of the building blocks for making glutathione. Your Ultimate enzymes contain something called trimethylglycine. We know it as betaine. We talk about betaine as an important ingredient for acidification, for keeping the pH of the stomach nice and low. But betaine can also help you make glutathione.
Help your body build glutathione. Order Ultimate Enzymes by calling 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470, or on the web at brightsideben.com. That's brightsideben.com. Order today.
So we decided to upgrade the look of our home.
You know, improve the curve appeal.
We decided to add the look of stone to the exterior.
We really like the stacked stone look.
Yeah, but when I checked into the price, it was ridiculous. No way could we afford it.
Then a friend told me about Genstone. Genstone.
Genstone comes in lightweight panels made of polyurethane. They've actually engineered the hassle out of installation. No mortar, no mesh. It was easy. Even I could do it.
We just screwed the panels to the wall and it looks like stone. I mean, it really looks like stone.
Yeah, from the box to the wall in minutes.
We love the look of our home now.
And Genstone is durable, comes with a 25-year warranty, and offers additional R value for insulation.
If you want the look of stone at a price you can afford, call Genstone
at 855-955-STONE.
Trust me, you'll save money.
And you'll love the look.
855-955-STONE. That's 855-955-7866.
Great news, pure water lovers. BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com has a special discount offer for all GCN listeners. You can't do better than a Big Berkey for economy. For only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. There's none better than a Big Berkey for emergency preparedness as a backup water source. And you just can't beat a Big Berkey to remove dangerous chlorine, all types of fluoride, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, parasites, and unhealthy byproducts from municipal water. Berkey water filter systems are even powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. For the gold standard in water filters, get a Big Berkey at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And all GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. For details, call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
It's time to get your green on with the great green sale from Freeze Dry Guy. Now through St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, cases of delicious freeze-dried vegetables, green beans, and green peas are now on sale at veteran-owned freezedryguy.com. You don't need to be Irish to feel like you have pots of gold with a healthy supply of these delicious, nutritious green vegetables. They're perfect for your emergency preparedness needs or outdoor activities from camping to RV travel. Green beans and green peas, easy to prepare, easy to enjoy, and now easier than ever to buy. How about some greenbacks in your wallet or purse just for ordering? Act now, and Freeze Dry Guy will give you $25 in survival bucks for every case you purchase by St. Patty's Day. So get your green on now, veggie lovers. Call 866-404-3663, 866-404-FOOD, or log on to freezedryguy.com, freezedryguy.com.
Independently leading the way for the nation. Compelling talk for every political persuasion. We are G.
All right, we're back on the Brightside. For you guys who want to purchase any of the longevity products that you hear us talk about in the program, please call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470 or head over to brightsideben.com and take a look at our shopping cart. Make sure you take a special look at the Beyond Tangy Tangerine for for $50, or I think it's $52 or so. You can enjoy all of the benefits associated with a good nutritional supplement like the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. That includes fat-soluble nutrients that we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Fat-soluble nutrients are typically harder to absorb than water-soluble nutrients, but in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, that's not a problem because those fatty nutrients have been made water-soluble. This is so important, especially for folks who have a gallbladder taken out or have liver problems or any kind of digestive issues. And it'll only cost you about $50, $52.50 or so. And if you're like most folks, you'll notice results like lower blood pressure and appetite suppression, weight loss, feeling better, more energy within 1 or 2 doses. And that's Beyond Tangy Tangerine, now Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0. You can find out all about it by calling the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. Okay, John, in California, let's see if we got a better connection, my friend.
Okay, here I am.
All right, what's going on?
A couple of things. I'm 73. In the last year, I have noticed that the first joint of my index fingers are beginning to swell a little bit.
Oh, okay.
They're not painful, but it looks to me like it could be rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay. Any other health things going on? Digestive issues or anything like that? That's usually the first thing to think about. Blood sugar issues, weight changes.
Basically, I'll say no.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. It's very rare that you'll have just a finger problem. Now, you're 73 years old, so, wear and tear is going to occur. But it's unusual that you'll have just a problem located in just one part of your body. However, it's hard to, sometimes, especially if you're healthy, relatively healthy, it's hard to isolate those problems. So without isolating or without backtracking to digestive issues and blood sugar issues, it's going to be a little bit trickier to deal with just your fingers. That having been said, let me give you some ideas, okay? Anti-inflammatory nutrients are very important, and this is true not just for folks who are dealing with joint problems or arthritis, but also for weightlifters, bodybuilders, athletes. Vitamin E is a tremendously effective anti-inflammatory, and I'd be using for anybody who's working out or anybody who's experiencing some of the inflammation associated with arthritis would be well advised to get on 400 international units a day of vitamin E. Vitamin E is a tremendously important nutrient. Just as a vitamin, it's got a lot of roles to play in protecting the outside part of a cell, which we've been talking about, the cell membrane. but it's also very anti-inflammatory on its own, and it can be helpful just without any other nutrients, just vitamin E. So that's the first thing to think about for arthritis or joint problems. And I don't think it's rheumatoid. I would say it's more like a wear and tear arthritis. The difference between rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis is one is a wear and tear problem that occurs over the course of time, and the other is an autoimmune problem, which is much more significant because it means you've got some kind of immune system issue that can really wreak havoc on overall health and accelerate the aging process. So if it's just osteo, number one, vitamin E, get on the glucogel caps. That's glucosamine, and I forgot to tell Mario about the glucogel caps. If you're still listening, Mario, the glucogel caps, I'm sure you know that, are a good source of the glucosamine. Always take vitamin C with your glucogel caps, and then it probably wouldn't hurt you. You should probably be on the Healthy Start Pack in general, but make sure you're taking extra essential fatty acids, extra ultimate EFAs, and then last but not least, well, not last because I'm going to tell you one more thing, the digestive enzymes can be neat, just not only obviously for digestion. They'll help you access nutrients more effectively, but they also have anti-inflammatory properties, as we've talked about so many times on this program, if you take them on an empty stomach. And then probiotics can be very helpful for all inflammatory health issues, especially when it comes to fats, or to joints, I should say. And that's the Biolumin Nightly Essence, and I would be taking 4 of those, at least 4 of those a day, but you probably wouldn't be a bad idea for you to double that and take 4 in the morning and 4 at night. And that ought to get you started. If you want one more good nutritional supplement for arthritis, magnesium can be nice and have some nice anti-inflammatory properties, and it works well with the vitamin E. That's the OsteoMag from Longevity. Thanks so much for your call. Appreciate it, John. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, yes, I do. A couple of things. What about the Killer Biotic?
I'm not a fan. No, I'm not a fan of that product. I don't talk about it too much.
I know Doc Wallach used to do minocycline for a couple of weeks. What do you think about that?
That's that. There's a theory that rheumatoid arthritis is caused by a bacteria. I'm not convinced of that. But yeah, that would be, if you wanted to try it. The Killer Biotic is like an antibiotic alternative, but it's not as strong as an antibiotic. If you really want to go all out and take care of the bacterial approach to arthritis, then you might want to try an antibiotic or the Killer Biotic. But personally, I'm thinking rheumatoid is an autoimmune disease, and that means something is getting into the system that is triggering an autoimmune response. The body's confused, essentially. Now, there is that whole bacterial theory, but I'm not a proponent of it, but you might want to try it. I'm thinking more food, digestion, and fats and fatty vitamins like vitamin E.
Number 2, my urine is very, very smelly.
Okay. Well, that's meaningful. Now, sir, does it smell like asparagus by any chance?
Well, I don't know. It's just really. Sometimes foods will make urine smell, but the diabetes or some kind of metabolic problem, that is a problem with how your body is processing foods and making energy. That's usually what you're looking at when you have a smelly urine. It could be a kidney problem too. It could also be it could be dehydration. You may want to try drinking more water. I'm assuming you don't have a urinary tract infection. It doesn't hurt when you urinate. And I'm assuming you don't have a kidney problem or a bladder problem. That could be significant, though. That might be that you have some kind of metabolic or biochemical issue going on. You really need to find some other symptoms, John, because it sounds like something else is going on, but without knowing what those are, it's hard to isolate the problem. Look for other symptoms and shoot me an email or give us a call back, and then we can work with you a little bit better. But it sounds like something else is happening in your body. So much, Ben. Appreciate it.
God bless, man. Good luck. All right, let's see if we can get a few more in here. Ben in Kentucky, what is up? My namesake.
Good.
Welcome to the Brightside.
Pharmacist Ben.
How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for calling. How can I help you?
I'm calling. I've got some keloids, and this seems to be on the vein of what you've been talking about the last few days.
Okay. Did you have a wound, any kind of wounding, or the keloids just showing up?
I don't remember getting a wound. I'm not developing more keloids. I've had these for 15-plus years.
Okay, but you don't have any more. They're not happening all the time. No. Okay, then once the keloids... Keloids are formed by collagen. Collagen is the main protein in the body, the main connective tissue protein, and it forms a significant concentration or a significant amount of the skin, the lower part of the skin, the dermis, is made up of collagen. So the cells that make collagen are called fibroblasts. Remember, all disease is cell disease. If you have keloids, and for the listeners, keloids are these kind of raised sort of scar tissue that forms on the skin. African American males will get them. They'll sometimes occur after wounding. It's a sign that the fibroblasts, the collagen-making cells, are not doing their business correctly. And we're going to talk about why cells don't do their business correctly tomorrow. But long story short, you want to think about fats and fatty vitamins if you have keloids. If you're keloiding, if you have chronic formation of these keloids, these raised kind of scar tissue, and that is especially vitamin D and essential fatty acids. And I'm not speaking to you, Ben, because yours are already formed. But for folks who get these chronically, and especially African American males, focus on vitamin D as well as vitamin A because they work together, and essential fatty acids, and the whole fat metabolism issue that we're going to talk about at length tomorrow. So fibroblasts make collagen. They're collagen-making cells. Don't worry about the name. Collagen-making cells become defective. They produce collagen incorrectly, and that's what a keloid is. Now, Ben, my friend, yours have already formed, so they're on the formation. They're in the category of a scar, and you're not going to really be able to get rid of those except for surgically. They're already there. Okay. And I wish I could tell you that you could do something nutritional to get rid of them. You can't. Once they're there, they got to be removed surgically. Where are they? Where do they appear? On your body? On your face or your neck?
They're on my chest.
Oh, on your chest.
It really shocked my doctor because I'm a white guy. He said he normally saw them in females in the area they are after a vasectomy.
Yes, they usually come after surgery. They would come after a surgical procedure. But anybody who's having a surgical procedure, and even sometimes African Americans will get them just from shaving. So any kind of cuts or wounds or surgical procedure, if you suspect you might keloid, focus on fat absorption and fat malabsorption. We will be talking about that at length tomorrow. Ben, I got to move. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for your call. And I apologize if I left you on hold. Call back tomorrow, and we'll tell our call screener that we left you on hold. We'll get you first up. Thank you guys for listening to The Brightside. I'm Pharmacist Ben. If you want to learn more about the longevity products, please head over to my website, brightsideben.com. You can pull down on the menu and you can purchase any of the longevity products. Take a specially long look at the Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0. If you haven't tried it yet, please give it a shot. You're going to notice results within 1 or 2 doses if you're like 99% of the folks who use this stuff. Please check out my blog, pharmacistben.com, and I'd love to have you join the Brightside Ben team for a one-time $10 fee. You can join the team and help spread the word about the power and importance of a good nutritional supplement program. That's all the time we have for today. Have yourselves a wonderful, beautiful, awesome day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.
Self-reliance, survival supplies, survival skills, national experts. Get it all at the only free-to-attend national event exclusively for preppers. This spring in Tulsa, it's the National Preppers and Survivalist Expo, a must-be-there event presented by American Living. This massive expo will include special guests, David Mays from Nat Geo's Doomsday Preppers, plus GCN's own Dr. Joel Wallach via live video conference. Hear Dr. Bones, Nurse Amy, and members of the American Prepper Network, along with many other leading national experts. Learn life-saving tips, CPR, how to handle crisis situations, walk through a bomb shelter, and much, much more. 2 big days, April 5th and 6th at the Tulsa Expo Square in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's April 5th and 6th. Doors open at 9 a.m. with absolutely free admission. Don't miss the National Preppers and Survivalists Expo, America's largest emergency preparedness event. Get your free tickets now. NPSExpo.com. That's NPSExpo.com.
Big business has discovered the preparedness market, and that makes it difficult to know where to go and who to trust. MyPatriotSupply.com is owned and operated by patriots just like you. Has the best prices on storable food, non-GMO seeds, water filtration devices, home canning equipment, survival and self-reliance books, and more. MyPatriotSupply.com has old-fashioned values and the absolute best customer service in the industry. Look for the deal of the day. Unique, affordable survival
survival supplies that fit anyone's budget. Get same-day shipping on all orders and free shipping on orders over $49. Call 866-229-0927, 866-229-0927, or visit mypatriotsupply.com for emergency preparedness, self-reliance, and food independence. Shop with a name you know and a name you can trust. Before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. mypatriotsupply.com.